Welcome to the No Dress Code Pod, where we keep it real, celebrate Black excellence, and dive into the things that matter most. Tune in, vibe out, and let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of the No Dress Code Pod. I'm your host, as well as your favorite hoochie, legs out, not open, Bree. And if this is your first time listening, then thank you. If you are a returning guest, then you already know what I'm about to say. Thank you so much for showing up. Okay, because without you, where would I be? Now, today we have a special guest. Special guest, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Ciara. I am a registered nurse, master's prepared, public health nurse, and I am so happy to be here.
I'm glad you pronounced it because I was saying Sierra. When I was reading the emails, I was saying Sierra and it's Ciara.
No worries. I hardly correct people just because it's close enough.
But we're going to get it right over here, okay? And she said her name is Ciara, and that's what y'all going to be calling her. Okay?
Hard R.
Hard R. Okay, so before we get into today's episode, one thing we like to do on the show is check in on mental health. So Ciara, how are you feeling mentally today?
I'm doing okay today. I got some good sleep. I have a 2-year-old, so sometimes that's non-existent. I think right now with the climate of the world, it's a little bit, what's the word? Like uncertain, I guess.
Mhm.
But overall, I'm going to rest because this is not what the world doing is not my ministry. You know what I mean?
You know what? I'm going to start saying that. That is not my ministry. Because that is so true.
No. How about you?
You know what? Nobody ever asked me. Lost my earring. Nobody ever asked me that. But honestly, I've been doing good.
Good.
I've been, I had my days. I had a very, very rough period. I'm not gonna sit here and lie. It had me going through it. But yeah, I've been doing good. So
Good.
yeah.
Glad to hear that.
Thank you. And to the guests, to the listeners, I hope you guys are having an amazing week. If you're not, there's something I could do for you in this moment, but continue to speak it over you. But please let it be please drop it in the comments and let us know how your week is going, because maybe somebody can help you with your week going forward. So today, Ciara, we invited you on this show, and shout out to the person who recommended you, because love it down. Because we wanted to have an important talk about health, and not only Black women's health, but like STDs. So I feel like it's a topic that has a lot of stigma around it.
Yes.
And I feel like it's something that we don't talk about a lot.
I agree.
So can you tell us, like, I know you said you work in the healthcare field and you're a nurse. Can you tell us like what you do?
I currently work in the ambulatory clinic for a local hospital in the LA area in an underserved community. And unfortunately, that is where we tend to see a lot of high rates of different STDs, STIs. But I work in the specialty clinic, which is podiatry, vascular, and urology, actually. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So I wanted to have this conversation because I went to get tested at the beginning of the year.
Mhm.
And I started doing that when I first started dealing with this man who I call Mr. 95. And it's not that he had anything, it was just the fact that he was like open and honest, like, hey yo, you're not the only person I deal with in that sense. And so I was like, oh well, the way you like to do things, baby, I gotta make sure I'm protected.
Yes.
And it just made me think about the times where I've had partners and it was unprotected in every sense of the word. Probably wasn't getting tested as I should. So I started going more frequently. Like I started going like probably every 3 months.
Okay.
And the nurse, the last time I went, the nurse was like, well, are you like getting paid to have sex? Like, are you,
Yeah.
because why are you coming so frequently? And I was just like, well, I thought that was like the standard. Like you're supposed to go. I mean, granted, I know and I'm gonna say we as a generalization, but we normally don't go.
Yeah.
I know I wasn't going. I've had plenty of partners. Not. I try to call myself a hoe.
I mean, she said.
I've had more than one. So I've had enough partners where I probably should have been getting tested and I was
Yeah.
just basically trusting them. And thankfully, I've not had anything, whether it was curable or incurable. I've never had anything. But it was just like, I got to a point where I feel like I was really playing with my life.
Sure.
And then I'm allowing you to play with my life at this point because I'm just taking your word that you are just with me or that you don't have nothing. And it's like, maybe if I came up with something and I couldn't pinpoint, I would be distraught.
Right.
So I started going every 3 months and she made me feel like that was crazy.
No, I would not say that that's crazy. I mean, I think one of the things that they say is to like make sure you're getting tested with every new partner and that kind of stuff. But even if you're with the same partner, like if you know that you're not monogamous or they're not monogamous, then I think going every 3 months or if you notice any signs or symptoms to get tested is a good thing. Um, and I think that, and not to say that she's wrong or anything like that, but I just think that we kind of do a disservice if we're just like, well, you don't need to come that often. You know what I mean? Instead of being like, oh, look at you, girl. Yes. Yes. Tell your friends, tell your family. Like,
and that's how I felt going. Like, look at me, just taking care of myself because I'm trusting you too much.
Right.
And granted, with this partner, I probably am. I can't verify. I probably am the only person you're dealing with in this way as of right now.
Sure.
But at any point that could change. And
That can change.
I don't really see you telling me in the moment like, hey, things have changed and I've been with somebody else.
Right.
So I like to keep myself protected. And I know that it's not really something that I feel like is beat into you when you are learning sex ed in school.
If you're learning sex ed in school, honestly, that's the truth. It's not. I think that we are in a society that would rather be like no one's having sex, and then like nobody learns how to take care of their reproductive health, how to take care of their health in general when it comes around sex, and everything is just so taboo. When, in all honesty, if we did learn about sexual health and our reproductive health and everything, we would probably have less people spreading around different STDs and things like that. The fact that we make it so like hush hush and don't talk about it, don't share or anything like that, then I feel that that leads to people feeling shame around it and then not telling their partners, and then the cycle just continues.
Yeah. I honestly went on a date, and this is probably, I think it played in my head when I started to go get tested. I went on a date with a guy who told me like I ended up, catching an STD from a girl, and I was never, physical with him in any way, shape, or form. But it just like played in my head like, well, dang, it can truly happen to anybody. It was a curable one. I didn't really ask him what it was, but it was a curable one. He said he didn't have it no more. But it was just one of those things like it can happen to anybody, and I feel like that's not something we really talk about.
Right. And I wish that this was a conversation that we had more of, because I'm going to tell you that most of us have probably had something at some point, right? But the fact that no one really talks about it or shares, then everybody just, again, is quiet about it because they're like, no one else is dealing with these things. And I think that's also like perpetuated into other communities, like the gay community and stuff like that. It's like they already feel stigma about being who they are. So then you don't go get help because you already feel like you're being judged. And it's really, really, really a disservice to all of us. And we should not feel shame over health. Sexual health is health. Sex is a part of life, right? Like we really should be focusing on how to get this information out more and make it more normalized for everybody. And then also with the people like, different partners and stuff like that, we shouldn't just believe them, right? I like to say, and I've heard from others too, like, in God we trust, and others have to bring data. Okay, so bring your test results. Let me know that you actually looking after your body as well.
Yeah, because you know what? When Mission 95 ended up calling me on the way to get tested one day, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to get tested." And he was like, "For what? Like, why?" And I'm like, "Yeah, you may be the only person I'm with, but I can't guarantee I'm the only person you're with."
Right.
Like, granted, we do spend a lot of time together, and it's like, well, how could you have that time? But plenty of married people have time to step out and make those same choices. So
Right.
if they got the time, I know for a fact you got the time.
Yeah.
I don't live with you. I don't be at your house 24/7. You definitely got the time.
Right.
So yeah, I made it more of a conscious decision in 2024 to start getting tested. For me personally, every 3 months.
Yeah. I'm proud of you. I think that is good. I think that's good for you, and I think that doing that honors yourself, honors your body as well, because you are like, I'm trying to take care of myself. No matter who I am with, I am taking care of myself. And sometimes I just think that's something that we kind of neglect in relationships as we go through life, things like that. So yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah. Why? Okay. So why do you think that talking about STDs is such a taboo in our community?
Well, again, I think it goes back to um, one, the stigma just around sex. I think in our community that we're already looked at as uh,
Fast,
fast. Yeah.
promiscuous.
Yes. Literally from being kids, like you've heard that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, look, she fast because she.
Got on shorts and a t-shirt, and
Right, right, right,
it's
right.
85 degrees outside.
Listen, my grandma and I was already an adult. I came in with some with some shorts, and she was like, "Where are you going?" And you got a horse spirit and all this stuff. And I was like, "What? What do you mean?" I was like, "Okay, lady." But this is like,
Yeah.
that is something that we have had to deal with time over time and over time, and just I think also just the respectability politics of like, don't act like you have sex. Don't talk about sex because you want to be seen as proper, holy, uh, devout Christian. So then the people outside of our community, white people, will look at you as not being less than, even
Mhm.
though we already know that if they looking at you that way, it don't matter. You could read Jesus Christ himself, and it wouldn't matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that's a lot of it of where it starts is just not wanting um to look dirty or less than. Um and then I think that just was perpetuated on and on and on. And then now, same thing with mental health. It's like, well, don't talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually I said in a post before that I made a post on social media when I was literally struggling one day, and it was even in that moment hard for me to post it because I was like, I know people are gonna look at me like, damn, she's doing this for attention, and there's some people who look at me like, damn, she must be really struggling, and it's just like I struggled in that moment to even post it because it's like, do I let y'all in and let y'all know like I'm really just like going through it. Like when I was recording it, I was about to break down because it was like I don't want to necessarily say I want to off myself, but
Mhm.
this is what the voices in my head are telling me.
Yeah.
Like they telling me like, girl, you don't need to be here. This ain't it for you. Go ahead and end it all and just be done with it all.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I posted it and I had to just let it go. I was like, yeah, it is what it is. And I didn't pin it to my page because I didn't want to. It's not like I'm not trying to monetize off of it. It was just like that moment that I had, and I don't know if I ever share another moment like that because I mean, I got calls like you should take that down. You shouldn't post that, but it's like how many other people are struggling?
Yeah.
And then it's like when celebrities struggle, like
Mhm.
Robin Williams, when he passed away, everybody was like, "Oh, he was struggling with mental health," but he always had a smile on his face, so you never knew. And it's like, yeah, that's kind of how it is a lot of the time.
It's true. First of all, good for you for posting that.
Thank you.
I am me personally, I am a person who I want the hard facts. Like I want to know the real you. I want to know really how you feel. Um, I want to know really what's going on. I hate like I don't know if this is the Capricorn in me too, but I don't like surface stuff, you
Hmm.
know? So I gravitate more to the people who are like, this is the real me. This is what I'm going through. Um, and I also will share when I'm going through stuff. Like after I had my baby, I went through really, really, really bad postpartum and depression. And just literally within these last like probably 3 or 4 years, have I really like focused in on the fact that, oh, like I probably have dealt with depression and anxiety,
Hmm.
throughout my life in different aspects, but just now realizing that that's what it was. So I good for you. And I wish that more people would do that. And same thing around sex, having STDs and STIs and stuff. That if we were more open, we could actually live our lives
Hmm.
and we would be able to help other people.
So the CDC reports that more than 50% of all new STD cases are among young people aged 15 to 24.
Yes.
How can we address the high rate among our youth, particularly in Black communities?
I do think that we need to start, um, teaching them about this in school. I was a school nurse for like 2 years. And I had a middle school, and the amount of kids that came in who didn't even know about like how their period worked and all of that was crazy to me. I was
Hmm.
just like, who like is anyone telling you at home or anything like that? And they don't really have like sex education like that
Yeah.
anymore. Like I don't know if it happened, sorry. I don't know if it happened that because of parents or what, or they didn't have enough teachers to teach it or what. But I do think that that's where we could start because they are already starting to have sex that young.
Yeah.
Scary.
It is. It is.
Especially if you don't even know how your period works. But the fact that I think pretending that that's not happening is leading us to these statistics.
Hmm.
And if we at home, even parents, and then, when they go to school, we're teaching them about how sex works bio- biologically, and then also telling them about these different infections that could possibly happen as well as pregnancy. I think we would be doing a good job. I think rates would decrease.
So, at what age do you think is like a good point to have a conversation about sex? Because I've seen people who feel like they start the conversation early, and then I see people who have started the conversation late. I was one of them kids who ain't had a sex ed talk with my parents. Like
Mm.
it just didn't happen. Like I think when they first tried to have the conversation, baby, I was already having sex, but I was 19. So, baby, at this point, you should have been gave it to me.
Yeah.
I'm 19 at this point. I don't need
Right.
it. Like,
Right. I think that honestly, I think that once your child is going to middle school, that's really when the talk should probably happen. And I know a lot of them, especially in the Long Beach Unified School District, they are 11 going into middle school,
mhm.
and that's probably a lot of districts around. And it seems young, and they look young, and they act young, but a lot of them are into stuff and now they're with older kids and stuff like that. So I really think once they're entering into middle school, that's when we should start having to talk about sex ed and drugs. But that's a different topic.
Yeah. What myths about STDs do you see most frequently, and how do we dispel them?
I think most people have like this, how it's spread. I think, I feel like a lot of people don't understand that in a way. Um, and again, education. I recently posted because I had heard someone say something crazy and just uneducated, and that is literally something that just drives me insane. and the internet is full of it. Okay. And I was just saying, like, I only want to hear like well informed things. And I think this is also how we combat that is by teaching the kids
Mm-hmm.
the correct information. That's how you can deal with spreading, like how I was saying, like this is a lot of people don't know how STIs are spread, things like that. I think it's just starting telling the kids exactly how it happened, right?
How are they spread? Because a lot of times parents or a lot of times people will tell kids like they're spread by kissing.
Not all of them are spread by kissing. Really, herpes is the one that could be spread by kissing. And that's if you have an open sore inside your mouth or outside or on your genitals. That is a way that it could be spread by kissing. But like some of these other um, diseases, such as like HIV and stuff like that, the viral load is usually not that high in your saliva. It's more so through blood. So, maybe if you're doing like IV drugs where you're injecting yourself or having sex where, blood and bodily fluids are mixed, that's usually how a lot of the STIs, STDs are spread. So not all of them are spread through kissing. So don't just tell your kids that's the only way, because then these kids be out here like they're like, oh well, we didn't kiss, but they didn't have sex,
Yeah.
did all kinds of other stuff. So yeah, that's not the only way.
Okay, so here's something that comes up a lot. Should we keep getting tested even in committed relationships? I feel like it often leads to complacency, and there's some of us that end up in these disasters where like married people are like they're like you're married, and I feel like you're married, right? Because I saw your page, yeah. Married people sometimes are like, oh, I don't know how I ended up with this, but it's like one of y'all was cheating. That's how you ended up with it, baby.
Correct.
One of y'all was cheating.
Correct.
And you stop getting tested. And I don't know, I don't know about you personally, but I feel like a lot of married people don't get tested.
I would say that's true. I would say that I don't like go in and be like, oh, I want to be tested for all these things. Just because my assumption is that
Your partners,
right,
yeah,
that he's not going out. But at the same time, I don't like. I would be paying attention to my body too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, does something seem off? Like, have I noticed any different discharges or smells or things like that? Or even on him, like, does it seem weird or, things that are different or
Mm-hmm.
whatever? Trying to make sure, like, keeping track of that kind of stuff. But, like, going through different life things, like when I was pregnant, they do test you for that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So in different times of your life, you are getting tested for that, just because those different infections could be dangerous to your fetus. But you're right. We don't. Most of us don't go unless we maybe suspect something
Mm-hmm.
or something is happening already, symptoms, signs, and then we're like, this thing is happening to me. Then they will be like, okay, well, let's test. You know.
I'll be honest. I always wondered about people who are like in the medical field. Like, do you guys consistently get tested, even if you're in relationships or even if you're in marriages? And I know everybody's different, so I know you're not speaking for everybody in general. But I've always wondered that, like, because you guys know more about the risk and about like the possibilities and things that could happen from not. I always wondered, does that play a part in people's decisions?
Um, for me, I won't say that I get tested more, just because I would be, again, like if I notice anything that's off, just paying attention to my body, that would prompt me to be like, let me go to the doctor, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff. Also, I do like try to follow all my like well woman like checkups and all that stuff like that. So I do think that people should do that, because that's also how they can find out if anything's going on as well. Um, Now I can't say that, just because you're in the medical community, because there's a lot of people in the medical community who don't take their own advice.
I've always just wondered that though. Like, you know. What are some practical tips for bringing up STD testing with a partner without causing friction?
Um,
And again, you don't have to speak for yourself personally. I don't, not trying to.
yeah. I think, I guess it depends. Is it like a new partner or is it like someone you've been with?
Maybe someone you've been with.
If someone that you've been with, I think it's just kind of being like, we should go get tested for ST.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're in this relationship together, so why not? Like, if nothing is wrong, matter anyways.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they are very adamant against doing that, then for yourself, for sure, I would say go get tested. And then with someone new, I think I would say that I would just say from Jump Street, like, we're like entering into this situationship, relationship, whatever. Um, but for me, for my health, I like to get tested every so often.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that? Are you willing to do so as well? Now, depending on their answer and how you feel about it, you can go from there, right? If they're not willing and you don't want to rock like that, then don't do anything with them, right? But if they're willing and everything is good, or if you're okay with them not getting tested, then move about your life.
If someone tests positive, what's the general process for treatment and how effective are our treatment?
So usually if you get tested and you're positive, depending on the different type of STD it is, they're gonna give you medication, right? Some of them are antibiotics, some of them are antifungals, some of them are antivirals. It just depends on whatever it is that you have. If you use the treatment the way that it's prescribed and the way that you're supposed to, then it should be curable. Like most infections, that's why they changed it from STDs. Some are STDs, some are STIs. But as long as you're doing what you're supposed to in that sense, not being reinfected, then it should clear it up. It should fix it up. But if you are not following the treatment the way that it's supposed to, then it can continue. Or if you are continuing to have sex or do any of the behaviors that you were doing when you got it with the same person or even with different people, sometimes you can be reinfecting yourself, especially if they're not getting treated. A lot of the times, if you have an STI, you're being treated, but your partner probably needs to be treated too. And their partners or whoever else that they're with, for real. Because it's literally a vicious cycle. Like, you're doing what you're supposed to do to fix the problem, but then if you go back with that person
and they're still messing with that person
and nobody else getting treatment for it, then it's
you just gonna be on a cycle again.
Right.
Yeah. What are some long-term health risks associated with untreated STDs or STIs, especially in Black women?
So, we have stuff like HPV, the human papilloma virus. Those can lead to cancers, some of those different strains. And that can be passed through sexual contact. And then you have other things like gonorrhea, chlamydia, and stuff. And having that and kind of going untreated can lead to pelvic inflammatory disease. And that can cause issues later on in life, especially when it's time to have children. If you want to have children, it can lead to some infertility issues. I would say those are the biggest things. A lot of untreatment can lead to that stuff. Now, when you talk about stuff like syphilis, those without being treated can lead to eventually could lead to death, honestly. It becomes very insidious. It can affect your brain, all types of different things. So I I would say that all of them could potentially lead to um, other health issues as you get older, even if it didn't really affect you when you're younger, when you had it initially. So if you have anything, just go get treated because you never know. Like once you're in a different part of your life, what it is that um, you want, and then how this time could have affected that time of.
And since you brought up syphilis, how common is it? Because I hear about it, but I don't think I. And again, people could just be, keeping it to themselves. I don't think I know anybody who's ever been like, I have syphilis or I've had syphilis.
I think a lot of times there are people who don't know that they have it until it's gone. Like it can be dormant, and then something happens, and then it can come to the forefront. It is common. I mean, for a while we were like it had kind of gone down the rates because people were like testing and being treated and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
When you get pregnant, they test you for it and all of this. Um, but I have heard in the grapevine from uh, medical friends and stuff like that that it's kind of come back around. People have gotten laxed on it. So while it's not as common as chlamydia and gonorrhea or bacteria vaginosis, um, it's also not not there, right? And again, I it's something you may not see the signs or symptoms for a while, and then when you do, it could be more advanced.
So you had brought up childbirth in that. I also seen or also heard that Black women are more likely to have complications during childbirth, including death.
Hmm.
Um, can you tell us like about that, like why you think that is?
Racism. That's at the end of the day, that is what it is. Now, granted, there are, you know, that's not the case for everything. There are other situations that happen. I think a lot of us do go in and have preeclampsia. We have different like blood pressure issues, heart issues going in to pregnancy. Um, I think we forget or we don't even think about pregnancy as this kind of like miracle. We think of it as a miracle, but we don't think about it as how it is affecting our bodies, right?
Mm-hmm.
What our body has to go through to be pregnant and then to birth a child. Um, and with that, you're getting increased like blood volume and all of these things. And if you already have other things going on, other health conditions, then that can lead to you having maybe complications while you're pregnant, which could potentially lead to you having um, different things happen when you're giving birth and postpartum. So there's that. But majority of it is racism. A lot of times I feel that, and what I've seen is that Black women are seen as difficult initially, even if they're not difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had coworkers, because I used to work in labor and delivery, and I had coworkers who would be like, "Oh, they seem like they kind of have an attitude," and then I go in there, they fine, and
Yeah,
I'm like, "Is it an attitude or
you
like
just not.
what happened?" Like, I don't
Yeah.
think they have an attitude. They was cool to me. Like, they didn't say anything to me or whatever. And then, or that I do go in there like, I don't want to deal with that person or whatever because she said such and such to me. And then
Mm-hmm.
I come out there and be like, well, why you say that to her? Like, that's why she got an attitude. You know what I mean? And so a lot of that happens. And then because they're already have dismissed you from their mind, then they're not paying attention to other things that be happening real time in front of them. So I those that conversation is a long one. Um, this podcast.
Don't worry, you know I have to bring you back. But since you mentioned preeclampsia, it's something that I hear about a lot.
Yeah.
But what exactly is it? Maybe because I've never been pregnant, I don't know too much about it. Like, but what exactly is it?
So it's pretty much when your blood pressure goes up So it becomes elevated, and it can become very elevated, especially if you've never had blood pressure issues. Let's say, like, we'll give an average, say your normal blood pressure is like 118 over 70. And then you get into pregnancy, and now, especially once you're past like 20 weeks, once you're getting into the third trimester and stuff like that, you're like 160 over 100, or like it's just high now.
Mhm.
And nothing really is fixing it. That is pretty much preeclampsia. And then usually you have protein in your urine. Um, and there's another sign, but that's not all. You don't always have all three to have preeclampsia. But it it really is focused around your blood pressure, and then what is happening to your organs because of your blood pressure, stuff like that. The protein is like a spillage of, like, kind of like a breakdown of, like, your organ into your urine. So um it is, and not just Black women obviously have it. It's just seems like a lot of us do when we go into it. Um, Also, a lot of preeclampsia has to do with socioeconomic status, and the care that we get, the health, how healthy we were or not healthy we were when we went into pregnancy, our living situation, our healthcare situations. All of these things can also contribute. Even our thoughts on how about like medications and stuff like that, because we know how we are in the community. That sometimes we're not gonna take that medicine, and we're
I
not gonna
hear
do
that so
this
much.
and all
I'm not
of
gonna take
that.
that medicine. Yeah.
But sometimes it's like the doctor, like when I was pregnant, I had like one episode of my blood pressure being high in the first trimester. And they were like, well, you could just start taking like aspirin, a baby
Mhm.
aspirin. So I was like, fine, I'll take the baby aspirin. I didn't have any issues after that with my blood pressure. I didn't really think, I thought I was probably anxious anyways at that time, but I was like, forget it. I will take it. It's not even a thing for me, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes we just have to be like, okay, I'll do that and see how it goes to help me. So, yes.
Is there a way to prevent preeclampsia, or is it just like luck of the straw?
Yeah, I think that it's just trying to be as healthy as you can in the beginning, healthy as you can while you're pregnant. That doesn't mean that you have to be skinny or anything like that, because I think a lot of people associate health with thinness, and that's not the case, because there's thin people who are unhealthy.
Mhm.
Okay, their body make is just thin, but they got all kind of other health issues. Um, I think just trying to be healthy in general going in. And then, they say like some of the stuff could also be due to the man who contributed their DNA to the pregnancy. They say that that could also be something that is causing preeclampsia as well. So there's so many theories. They don't really have like a this is why it happens. Um, it's just risk factors already. So if you already had heart disease, if you're a smoker, different things like that. Normal things that they tell you not to do anyways, even if you were pregnant.
Okay. So how does systematic racism in the healthcare system manifest in these outcomes for Black women, and what can be done to combat it?
Fire all the racists.
You heard her. She wasn't playing.
I wasn't. Right. I wasn't. I think we need to say it loud and proud, honestly. We know where we are right now. We know what's coming for us. But honestly, I think we have to start holding those people accountable. Um, I have said before, I have said to my coworkers, I've said aloud in the meetings, I'm like, people will not change until you hold their feet to the fire. So if, they want to do their DEI and things like that, like, oh, you got to watch a video.
What's the video do? I'm watching that video on mute. I'm gonna be honest.
Thank you.
I'm fast forwarding to that video. I'm on my phone during that
Thank
video.
you.
What's the video gonna do?
Also, stop making the Black people watch it. We know. We know what's happening. We're living it. Okay? But I digress. But for real, I just having these like, oh, watch this little like in service about cultural appropriateness, racism, discrimination. It is not doing anything. It is not changing people's minds. You have to be on a neck for people to change. Unfortunately, that's how we are as humans, but that is the situation. Um, so, having real life like activities for these people to have to go through, to have to live through. That's the only way you're going to change. Having them feel how this person might feel. With that, so that needs to start happening. If these people are having infractions, they're getting multiple complaints and stuff like that, then they need to have repercussions. And a lot of that, I think, also is that nobody's worried that something's going to happen to them. No one's worried that they're going to get fired because they were um, discriminating or anything like that. And again, like I said, people do not change unless you hold their feet to the fire, unfortunately. So a lot of that. And then also for us, I think it's just being educated about what's going on, being educated about what you're dealing with as best as you can, being having some thought about what the outcome could be that you hope for. And then also just being educated on how to advocate for yourself. I do notice that sometimes because we're trying to advocate for ourselves and we're angry, that's all people hear is
Mhm.
anger, right? They're not even listening to you anymore, right? And my goal with her Black Wellness is to also teach people how to advocate for themselves when they're in these healthcare spaces so they are heard. Um, and then to learn how to they can best like push forward if they need to without, getting overwhelmed by your anger. So I do think being educated ourselves on everything as well as holding people accountable is how we can pass these disparities.
Okay, and I'm glad that you brought up her Black Wellness. Can you tell us what inspired you to start your business?
Yeah, so actually I've had a business the last couple of almost it was like a year and a half. And I was a mama coach and I was, helping with postpartum and prenatal education and support. And one thing I did notice within that is that, you know, we need a lot of um education and support that we're not getting.
Mhm.
Um, and I have always been a person who is like, I want justice for everyone. Like, even if I don't really know you, if you came to me with a problem and was like, this is happening to me, I'm over here like, I'm getting people on the
Your name is
phone.
on the list.
I'm over here like, who do I talk to about this? Because I'm just like that. No, I am not letting this go. Like it needs to be addressed. Because I'm like, who else? Because you're telling me this, and it seemed like you didn't go through so many people to get here, and we still at the same thing. So that is what prompted me to start Her Black Wellness. Outside of that, when I was getting my master's degree, my I guess technically thesis paper or whatever was also on disparities for Black women, especially within the maternity population, and how these disparities are leading to, all of these statistics basically, and how we could best do that. And how we could best do that was to, you know, educate properly, educate the patient, and then educate the healthcare staff. And again, hold their feet to the fire to make sure that they're doing the right thing. So, Her Black Wellness is here. Help educate you, the people, our people, about how to take care of yourself and how to advocate for yourself within the healthcare field.
What challenges have you faced in running her Black Wellness, and what successors are you most proud of?
Um, well, I'm just getting started with Her Black Wellness. So I'm almost launching my website.
Okay.
Uh,
Round of applause for that.
yes. So I'll send prayers because trying to be a website designer and all of that. Just fix it. It ain't me. But I want to say probably the hardest thing is just getting all the things together. Like when you're a one woman show, there's just a lot of things to do. And also like trying to figure out how to get your name out there, right? Like how to tell people like, you know, I have this service, I have these products to help you best like navigate your life and your health. Because that's not my strong suit. I like to do this kind of stuff. I like to talk one-on-one to the people. I like to give out information like this. So the behind the scenes and the content creating and all of that stuff, that's kind of where I'm like, oh, that's my headache. So there's that. But my successes, like I said, we're just getting started. And I think my success in general is just deciding like this is where I'm meant to be at the end of the day. Supporting us, helping us thrive. And I say that with capital U and a capital S. And just, trying to collaborate with my
Love to hear that. So, with that being said, as you said, you're just getting started, but I'm gonna be honest, NDC has not been around that long either. We started, I want to say 2023, August 2023.
Okay.
But we took a long break off. But where do you see her wellness in 5 years? And how can our listeners get involved or help support your mission?
In 5 years.
Because we're gonna speak it into existence.
Amen. I just being known actually nationally. I would love that. I see it. I have a lot to give. And I think that we as a collective have a lot to give. And that I think that um, the more education that we have about ourselves, the better that we do. Right. And sometimes it's best when it's coming from us. So, yeah, nationally, leaving my job in case you work at where I work. Hear me say that? Leaving my job and being mainly focused on doing this, holding retreats, holding spaces where we can all get together. And I say us, it's mainly for us, but the others, the BIPOCs, the other people can join in too, as long as
you understand where you fit in. You get
Right.
in where you fit in.
Correct. What do they call them, Hannahs?
Do they call them Hannahs?
The ones that are down,
What?
I think so. I think so.
I've never.
Anyways,
heard
you know
that.
who you are. If you in with us, then again, like she said, get in where you fit in. But yeah, that is my goal. Just really to focus on how we can live our best life. I have a friend who just had a baby. She has like 5 kids.
Whew.
Now. And she's struggling. And I said, "Oh, how come you didn't say anything to me? Like I know people. Like I could like put you in contact with people like for your mental health and stuff like that." And she was like, "I don't know. I guess I'm just used to suffering." And I was like, "Hear that your mouth no more." Cuz listen to me, Black women. I don't want to hear that we're suffering anymore. That's not our birthright. That is not what is meant for us. We don't need to suffer. We can help each other. We can help each other get resources. We do not need to suffer. And I don't want that for us. Another reason why Her Black Wellness was created, because I think something that I have also been unlearning. Most of us were raised in the fact that we have to carry the load. But I am asking all of you to put it down. If it ain't yours, put it down. Put it down and live your best life. And however that we can make that happen, I will try to support you to do that. So that is my advice right now because I feel like a lot of us are going through that. And like I said, I've been unlearning this as well. Is to put others' problems down. You help where you can, but also you deserve to thrive. And I mean live your best life, a soft life, basically. And to support me, follow me on Instagram. I say that with disdain because I'm just very upset. But I haven't figured out yet exactly where else to go, even though there's an app called Spill. Have you heard of them?
I haven't.
Okay, well, I'm plugging them, even though I don't work for them. There's an app called Spill Mob. You can actually look for them on Instagram, but they have an app. Go to your app store. It's in beta right now, and it's kind of like Twitter, but like for Black people.
I will be
In a
looking into
way.
that.
I didn't really have Twitter, so I don't really know if it is. But the creators of the Spill app created or were from Twitter.
I have Twitter. I don't really use it.
Yeah.
I've been more of an Instagram girly.
Yeah.
But I've been getting into TikTok, and so I'm so sad that TikTok got banned because I was just getting into it. I mean, it's back, but it's not like back for good.
They gonna bring that back.
I hope they do, but is it gonna be
back.
the same?
Trump gonna be. Is it?
Yeah, it is back up. It is back up.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. It's back up. It's back
I was
up
like,
for sure.
listen, when they was talking about his being banned and everything, and then oh boy, the owner, the parent or whatever, was like, we're gonna work with Trump about like how we can make this happen. I was like, shit, like y'all just over here acting.
Yeah. I was really getting into TikTok, but I will try Spill because I'm gonna be honest, I maybe posted like 3 things on Twitter. Twitter is not. I don't know. I just can't get into it.
I never got into it.
I can't.
You can still, they used to have black threads, or they still not threads, Twitter threads, on Instagram, and that's where I would see.
Yeah. I love Black Twitter. I don't know how to find y'all, but I love Black Twitter.
Thank you to the people who post on Instagram.
Thank you to y'all.
The Black Twitter content.
Because yes, finding y'all on Twitter is so hard. I love Black Twitter.
It's an exclusive club.
Yeah.
But like I said, go to Spill. Again, I don't work for them. I'm not sponsored, but if y'all want to sponsor me, I'm bringing the people over there, okay? But yeah, follow me on Instagram on Mark Zuckerberg's app. I'm just kidding. I'm at Her Black Wellness. And then I am on Facebook. It's really under my name, Ciara Lyons. And then I have a page for Her Black Wellness. I'm on Spill, Her Black Wellness, if you go there.
I heard Isaac Hayes has an app.
Fan base.
Yeah, I didn't know what it's called. I knew it was something close to it, but I couldn't figure it out.
Yes, supposedly it's great. I haven't really tried it. I said I was going to. Threads is kind of like popping a little bit right now, but it's also one of their apps. It's a meta app, so I'm in a weird space. So I'm just like, that's why I'm like, I need to find something else. But yes, that, and then again, my website will be up. So of course I will post about that, especially if you follow me. Once that's up, and then you can follow me there. There will be a blog. We can talk about anything. Yeah. I'm around, basically, when I'm not being bullied by my
I did see her. She's pretty. So cute.
She's funny.
I'm not gonna sit here and lie. I did have to stalk your page a little bit. Had to get some stuff together. So
oh, I love that. She's fun. Have you ever been punked by a taller? Just asking for a friend.
I get punked by tallers all the time though. My mom went to McDonald's the other day, and Baby Cash, she bought me nuggets. I only asked for a 4-piece. He had a hamburger, a whole cheeseburger to himself, and he took my nuggets. Took my nuggets and said they were his. And still had his burger. and trying to take my fries too.
Yeah,
It was ridiculous. I snuck out on him. I
you
snuck
got
into
it.
my room, and then when he came in, I had to hide him.
Got it.
I had to hide him.
These kids, I don't know where they come from. I really don't. I look at her sometimes and just like, "And are you?"
Yeah, they're crazy these days. I will make sure to also link all of her social medias, not only in video but also in the bio for anybody who wants to check her out. All right, so before I let you go, we do have a Reddit for you. Um, so this one says, "Daughter told me something no parent wants to hear," and I can't personally relate because I'm not a parent, but I felt like you would be able to. Hi, I'm 41 female, me sitting in the living room tonight thinking everything in life is all right. In walks daughter, 12 female, who wants to sit in the recliner with me. So I scooch over and she climbs beside me. Then very abruptly tells me how she wants to unalive herself, but excuse me, unalive herself because of school. Excuse me, ma'am? What? She had this girl in her journalism class who is not being a nice girl. She thought was her friend. Besides telling her that we would all miss her and she would break my heart if that happened, I felt a real sense of apathy for her. Like, literally, she didn't care what I thought, even seeing me crying. IDK, what to do? My brain is blank. I need help. So she wrote a few edits. The first one says, I wrote this 2 minutes after she went in her room for the night. My head was everywhere, so please don't think I'm all about myself for saying, even after seeing me crying, or that it would break my heart. I didn't literally say either of those things to her. I mainly listened and told her that I would get her help and that we would make it okay together. And she's never alone ever. I'll never leave her. She just needed to clarify those things. This morning she woke up smiling, so that's a plus. She has a doctor's appointment this afternoon. No school today until I get her classes fixed. She won't have to endure another day sitting in class with her ex friend. So today she's at work with mom until it's time to go to the doctor. Thank you for all your helpful advice. I appreciate every one of you, even the ones that aren't so nice. You guys keep me humble. I'll edit again when we get a plan. Because if her story can help someone else's child, then so be it. We just got home from the doctor's appointment. God dang, girl, you really giving the whole spiel. We just got home from the doctor's appointment and a walk in the park. The doctor is referring her to an external therapist for both her and our family as a whole. It seems she doesn't think there's need for her to stay overnight. So now we're at home about to cook spaghetti and watch movies. So she'll be staying home with me for the rest of the week. Oh, and I managed to get the school to change her schedule so she won't have to attend any more classes with the bullies. To all you lovely people, I will forever be grateful for all the advice and kind words I've received. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. You are truly gifts from a higher power. Today, after things had calmed down, I let her read this because I believe she's mature enough to understand. We have both read every single comment, and some of your stories have truly broken our hearts. I wish I could heal every childhood trauma that each of you have experienced. If I could be your mother or father, I would do so in a heartbeat. Reading this helps her further understand that she's not alone in the way her mind processes things. There are others going through similar struggles and it will all be okay. Even if it doesn't feel that way right now. One day she'll look back at this hiccup in her life and see it was just that, as a hiccup. She wanted me to share. Please let all those people know that I love them, mama. Even if they don't feel loved on a daily basis, there's a girl in Texas who cares. With that being said, thank you all, and please know that two girls in Texas care. Now, I read that like I was remedial, but really it's my contacts messing up. I could half see. I'm be honest. So, as a mother, let's have your opinion first.
Um, I think I probably would have been like her initially. If my child came up to me and said that, I would probably be like freaking out on the inside, like what is happening? What has happened? How Probably thinking like how did I miss this? And then how am I gonna get her help? I probably also would have been like, cannot be out of my sight just in case like she was ready to do something then. Um and I think she did a good job immediately getting her help. That's what I would do outside of myself. And then also I think she did a good job with, getting her classes changed. I guess I would want to know more about the situation with the friend. And is it multiple friends? Does she have other friends? Um, outside of, just changing her classes around and stuff like that. And but I would also like very much be a present up at that school because I want y'all to know I'll air this place out over
Air it.
my child. Okay. Everybody can get it. The kids alike. Okay. So, I guess, just really trying to let her know that, like the mom did, like she's not alone. I would never let her be alone and that she's not fighting this battle on her own. I think for a lot of us that we need to hear that, right? I think a lot of us feel alone, especially when you're already going through like kind of like a mental health crisis. Like you feel like you're the only person, um, but you are not alone. Reach out. And like I said, I think that mom did a good job with like jumping into action right away. And that's what I would do is try to jump into action right away. Um, Unfortunately, like she said, there's a lot of people who have like a lot of childhood traumas that they've dealt with. And who knows what that girl is dealing with in her own stuff too,
Mm-hmm.
outside. So hopefully they continue to heal. And that little one learns to deal with her stuff, that she is loved, that she belongs here, and that, you know, keep getting help. I think that's another thing that we don't realize is that you don't get cured from your mental health struggles. As long as you have a brain, you don't cure from that, right? But we're all on this spectrum in life. Some of us are doing better. Some of us can control things better. Some of us can't. Um, so continuous mental health, like maybe you don't go to therapy, maybe you feel better, so you're not going for a few months, but you might have to start going again, and that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. And I think that, and I hope that that's what that family does, and I hope that for a lot of us too is that we know that we can go back and forth, and we can literally keep getting help until we die, for whatever other reasons that we're supposed to. Okay. Um. So yeah, I think that mom did a good job. The stuff that I would have done. I probably wouldn't have went to Reddit,
Yeah.
but
2 minutes after she walked out.
I mean, I'm not knocking her. Some people need sounding boards. But I am my own consultant. Not really. Half, half.
Yeah, going to Reddit is wild, but I guess it helped her. It helped.
Right.
Who am I to judge? Because I went to Instagram with my mental health struggle. So who am I to judge?
I'm not even trying to judge her. I'm just saying that that's probably
Nah,
not what I would have
yeah,
done. Just
yeah.
because, when I'm in a little bit of a crisis, I can't think about nothing else. That crazy. I do think that if, the fact that she did go there and it sounded like she got some advice. So, you know, I'm glad that she went there. That's what works best for her. And for some people, that works best for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? To go kind of get your thoughts out, at least in the open, like other people can see it.
Yeah.
And that has saved lives, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Honestly, I contemplated whether I should go to TikTok or whether I should go Instagram. And I only say that because I feel like TikTok is more of a more welcoming community
okay.
than Instagram has been. Like Instagram will eat your ass alive and not care. So then I was like, dang, do I want to post this to Instagram? And people be like, girl, it's not that serious. Like,
But it is
you over
sometimes.
here about to boohoo cry and it's not that fucking serious. And it's like, yeah, and it's like you're right, but I'm struggling. And that's just what it is right now. I'm
Yeah.
struggling.
Yeah.
And I feel like TikTok has been, and this ain't sponsored by TikTok. I feel like TikTok has been a more welcoming community overall
Yeah.
with the people. Like I seen a post on Instagram, people was like, TikTok is the only place you can go and have a mental breakdown and somebody really understands you. You do that on Instagram and people are going it's really like judging you.
Yeah.
Like my anxiety somewhat raised when I posted that video on Instagram because I was like, y'all sharing this. Now why is y'all sharing this? Because this was not a shareable moment. This was my moment to just share with y'all.
Yeah.
But y'all sharing this with other people now. Why is y'all sharing this?
Because I think maybe they, felt the same way.
Yeah, and that's
At least
true.
when I share stuff.
Yeah.
If it's not like resources, then it's because I relate.
Yeah.
So that's probably what was happening. They was like, man, I relate to this. I'm in the same space.
And if that was the case, then I appreciate you sharing it. But yeah, that was my thing. Like, why is y'all sharing this? Because is you sharing this as a key? Because I got them. I share a lot of shit as a key. This is the moment to laugh about. And then sometimes it's like, girl, what is you doing? You're doing a lot. But
I think you have to like not worry about what the others are saying.
Yeah.
Because even if they come in the comments, you could be blocked and not blessed. Because I'm not even wishing you well. Just go deuces. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So I guess I would just be like, this is my truth at this moment. And if you don't like it, keep moving.
Yeah.
People need to learn that. Like you don't have to say things you don't like something. Just keep going.
Yeah. I mean, thankfully all the comments were good. They were
Okay.
all, I love you, sending love type of thing.
Yeah.
So I was grateful for that. And, I was just like, oh, you guys are nice. I wasn't expecting that. I was really expecting you guys to eat my ass alive.
I'm glad y'all behaved.
Yeah, I'm glad y'all did too. I might be vulnerable again. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
We like it.
Yeah.
Because we're entering our soft era.
Yeah.
Okay?
And I feel like at least in my podcast, I want to create a space of vulnerability where people feel comfortable. You feel comfortable coming on. You feel comfortable sharing your story. And I can't expect you to have that vulnerability if I don't present that same. So that was my thing in the moment. Like, oh y'all gonna get it today.
Thank
Get
you.
it today.
Thank you for letting.
Yeah, I tried. Thank y'all for sharing it. Thank y'all for having it.
And I think y'all gonna have to show me how to use TikTok. Cause
Oh yeah,
I'm old. I think if you're like an older millennial, exactly.
Yeah, what is an older millennial?
Exactly.
They say
I
it
just
starts in the
turned
80s.
38.
They say it starts in the 80s.
Well, I think I'm an elder. And I haven't figured out TikTok. But I do like it to see like the gardening stuff. I know. Old.
What type of gardening? Because they they use gardening for both ways. So what type of gardening you talking about?
I'm just trying to grow food.
Oh, okay. Okay.
What's the other gardening?
The weed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gardening.
Yeah, I grow that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I wasn't sure what type of gardening you were talking about.
Get rich.
That's all I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, take me out if I ain't rich. Take me out. 'Cause that's what are we doing here? So that's all we have for today. I hope that wait, before I let you go, is there any final thoughts or advice for our audience?
Yes. Go get tested. Make it. Listen, get your friends. Make it a party. Yeah, why not? Why not? They have different locations around the county. Different locations around, or don't. Different locations around the county, and any county. If you are in other states and other areas, than LA, usually your public health offices and stuff like that, you can go get tested, or they can point you in the directions to be tested. So get tested. Take care of yourself and your health and your mental health, especially. If our mind is there, then the body will follow. I think that a lot of we are like doing all of these other things about like our health, like losing weight or getting our BBLs or all of these
I
other
wanted the
things.
BBL so bad. I did.
Me
I couldn't
too.
afford it.
But now as a grown up, I'm just like, y'all gonna get what I have to get.
I'm in the gym trying to build it, but I wanted me a BBL so bad.
And then I don't want to pay for it. And then it feels like, I don't know. There's
It's
just a
too
lot
many
of
health
things.
complications. Yeah,
It just
you
feels
could
like there's a
die.
lot of
It's too
things.
much. It's too much.
But yes, I think that if we really focused on taking care more of our mental health, especially us Black people and the brown people, like just not being like, oh well, we suffer, we didn't suffer this on our parents, to suffer our grandparents. Da 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 da.
You need more than Oprah and Jesus. I'm gonna be honest with you.
That part. Jesus want us to go see the therapist.
He does. They
do the Lord's work. Okay, He said, do it for the people, for your soul. He was out there giving advice. Like I just want y'all to understand. If you are a Christian, if that's how you identify, there is nothing wrong with praying, reading your Bible, congregating with the saints, and then also seeing your therapist, and also taking meds if you need it, and all of that. If anything y'all didn't heard from me today is please take care of your mental health, because honestly, us not taking care of our mental health is literally how we're controlled.
And as you know, we are big on mental health over here.
Yeah.
So, like she said, take care of your mental health.
And follow me.
Yes.
And follow her.
Yes.
And support us.
Period. Because when you support us, you support our mental health. Because we trying to retire.
And my child's mental.
We trying to retire. Okay, so that's it. Thank you so much, Ciara, for joining us and sharing some vital insights. Don't forget to follow her at Her Black Wellness. Again, we will link that for you. And as always, don't forget to follow me. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to pull up. Because they're going to love it here, just like you do. And I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye. You're still here? You know the show's over, right? Don't cry. We'll be back next week. I gotta go be a hoochie. In the meantime, catch up on the older episodes.